Yo, what's good guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are heading into match day 2 of the Champions League matches, just into the day 1 matches. So let's get straight into the video guys, and hopefully you do enjoy the video. Starting with RB Salzburg versus Brest. This could be quite a tight game genuinely, so let's get started with Salzburg. They have not been too good, started the campaign not well, losing to Sparta Praha 3-0. I thought they would win this match, to be fair, but maybe there's a reason why they are 5th in the Austrian league. Now onto Brest, looking quite decent so far this season. Started their Champions League campaign quite good, winning their first game 2-1 against Sturm Graz. And I thought this would be a struggle for them, as they are 14th in the League One with 1 draw and 3 losses, but they proved me wrong though, and my prediction is gonna be a 2-1 win for Brest. Moving on to Stuttgart versus Sparta Praha. This could be a very good game, honestly. So let's get started with Stuttgart. They played quite well in their first match. They had to face the champions of the competition in Real Madrid. That is a challenge, but Stuttgart could definitely have won that game at one point in the match. Real Madrid are just inevitable in this match. I think they will play the same or better possibly than the Real Madrid match. Onto Sparta Praha. They have started their season in the Champions League very well. As we mentioned before, they beat Salzburg 3-0 even though they had 29% possession. It's pretty crazy, and they figured out a way to win the game effectively. Lassi and Olatunji scoring the goals, absolute ballers. Now my prediction is going to be a 2-2 draw between the two. Moving on to Dortmund versus Celtic. This could be quite a good game as well, so let's get started with Dortmund. They have started their campaign very well, winning their first game 3-0 against Club Brugge. New signing Gurasi scoring in that match as well, and Bino Giddens balled out and got 2 goals as well. And I think Dortmund will do quite good once again in this campaign. And onto Celtic last season, we saw them get grouped, which was rough this season. It might be different for Celtic, but they slapped up Slovan Bratislava 5-1. That's an absolute madness, but based on the stats, they look like they are pretty solid. So let's see how they could do this year. And my prediction is going to be a 2-0 win for Dortmund. Moving on to PSV versus Sporting. This game is going to be such a good one, so let's get started with PSV. They have not started this campaign well, losing 3-1 to Juventus. Juventus did play very well if we're being honest, but it was a fairly even match, but Juventus were more clinical in my opinion, and Bakayoko is a player that we gotta keep an eye on. He is a very good player. And onto Sporting, they have started the season very well, getting a solid 2-0 win against Lille. I didn't expect it to be that easy for them, but Gyökeres on the score sheet as well. That guy just can't stop scoring, and De Bast scoring a absolute banger, unbelievable goal. I would say the best goal scored in the Champions League so far. So my prediction is going to be a 2-1 win for Sporting. Now Slovan Bratislava versus Manchester City. I'm sure we know who will win this match, so let's get started with Slovan Bratislava. They did not start the season too well, getting slapped up 5-1 by Celtic. So far it is not looking too good for them, only 2 shots on target the whole game. This will be a even bigger challenge though. Onto Manchester City, we all know how good this team is. They did not start the season too well in the Champions League. They drew 0-0 against Inter in their last game, and Grealish was one of their best players in that match, and KDB could possibly be out for this match as well. And Man City, in my opinion, will probably stroll this game and really dominate Slovan Bratislava, so that's why I'm going 5-0 Manchester City. Moving on to Barca versus Young Boys. This could be a more tight game than usual, so let's get started with Barcelona. Not looking too good for them so far, losing their first match of the campaign. They lost 2-1 to Monaco, which is surprising. Yamal did score once again. That guy is a absolutely unreal player. Ter Stegen, he set up Garcia for the red card. He passed it in the middle where Garcia was marked instead of wide where the center backs were more open. Onto Young Boys, not looking like a good start from them, losing their first match 3-0 to Aston Villa. They were going into the match, but Aston Villa got a goal. From there, Aston Villa were in control of the game after that, but this will be another rough match for Young Boys. Now my prediction is going to be a 2-1 win for Barcelona. Moving on to Leverkusen versus AC Milan. This is definitely a match that will be great, so let's get started with Leverkusen. They started the Champions League campaign very well, winning 4-0 against Feyenoord, and I thought it would be a lot closer than that, and they still continue to play very well. Wirtz getting 2 goals as well in their last match, and he is incredibly good. Probably one of the best talents in the world right now. Onto AC Milan. They had a rough start to the Champions League. They had to face Liverpool and they lost 3-1 to them. And Liverpool, as we all know, are looking very good. And Milan got the early goal through Pulisic. Leao looked good dribbling around players, but I feel like he was quite selfish a lot of the time in terms of the attacks. So my prediction is going to be a 3-1 win for Leverkusen. Moving on to Inter versus Crvena Zvezda. Now realistically, one of the teams will take it here, so we'll get started with Inter. The reigning Serie A champions, they had a alright start. They had to play Manchester City, and that did not go too well for them. They drew 0-0 against them, and they did play more defensive against Manchester City, as obviously City have a lot of attacking threats, so probably as they knew, they had attacking threats like Foden, Haaland, and many other players. And onto Crvena Zvezda, quite a tough start for them as well, losing their first game against Benfica 2-1. And if we looked at the stats, it was fairly even, and Di Maria was so influential in a lot of plays, and especially the first goal where he cut it back. And Crvena Zvezda went down 2-0 in 30 minutes, which is quite early. That's a pretty crazy scoreline. And they got their goal in the 86th minute, which was not enough. And my prediction at the end of the day will be a 3-0 win for Inter. Now moving on to the biggest game of this week. That is going to be Arsenal versus PSG. Best game this week, so let's get started with Arsenal. I thought they would start well, but they did not. We played Atalanta and drew 0-0, and Arsenal did not play too well. We had 0.27 XG. It's pretty awful, and Partey was getting absolutely ran through this game as well. Like he couldn't get anything going in this match, and we gotta bring our A game to PSG because they're looking quite good this season. Onto PSG, started their campaign pretty well, winning their first game 1-0 versus Girona, and the goal came from a own goal. And a player we have to talk about is Dembele. He sold a one-on-one where he had a player who was open on the left side of him for a open goal, but he choked. We see this so often from him, so he needs to start passing it. This guy decides to be selfish as well, so my prediction is gonna be a 1-1 draw. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.